shrug their shoulders and say, well, he asked for it. He's a conservative radical. I mean, Joe Biden called everybody a radical. Anybody that loves this country, you're an extremist.
Yeah.
Wear a MAGA hat, you're labeled an extremist. You go to a school board meeting and speak your mind, protect your kid. Radical. Call the FBI. I mean, the picture is a lot larger than what we're talking about. You know that, Mike, as well as
absolutely. So I think it'll be interesting to see in talking with Corey, according to him, some national media, and I don't know which ones that would be because it's not going to be the ABC, the word salad media, maybe OAN or RSBN or something like that. So apparently they've been picking this story up because it does have some, if it bleeds, it leads. This story could have some of that in a conservative paper. Or media outlets. So I guess we'll be seeing what happens with that as time goes on.
Well, I don't know how he's fixed for legal, his legal affairs to support and defend him in front of these charges. I mean, he's been on the police radar for quite a while. I mean, you mentioned it earlier. He drives around the town, the city with the big flags, and he's got the bullhorn. I mean, he's a character. I mean, but there's no law against what he's doing. I mean, other than maybe a noise ordinance. But I've seen his taped interviews with after the police stop him and try to roust him. And he knows the law. He knows his rights, and they don't like that so much.
No. And he skirts. I mean, he's right there on that edge.
Yeah,
he skirts that edge, but he's been right. I mean,
look, I don't.
It is what it is.
Just like I was in love with Trump style. This emotional IQ or lack of that he showed on Twitter. But man, I love the way he handled his business.
Yeah,
he handled this country like it was supposed to be handled, and it sent the electricity through these grifters that we have in Washington and even in this state and across the country, folks. I mean, they're showing up now in droves. This J6, I'm not a big Fox News guy. I think they're all corporate shills. They only say what they're told. If they step outside the bounds of the woke corporations that pay their salaries, the word comes down and they get crushed. They're diminished in the ratings. They're put, they close them down a little bit. They take them to the woodshed. That's what's going on in the country, Mike.
Do you think that's like Tucker Carlson right now with all the J6 stuff he's been talking about? And from what I don't watch Fox News at all.
No.
But from what I understand, the wheels at Fox News are not extremely happy with him. Do you see him all of a sudden losing his time slot?
He may lose his job. I'm telling you, this is much bigger. When the money is much bigger than Tucker Carlson, that $6 million or whatever he makes a year is like crumbs off the table, man. Yeah, for these big shysters. You may see him move to, he'll end up tumbling into like the Blaze or one of these other places. He'll land on his feet. He's got talent. He knows how to talk. He's a great communicator, no doubt. But the fix is in. If you don't understand that, you need to get some learnings. Just do some back research. Well, people listen to us. I've been accused. I got tons of emails. You're just you're parroting whatever anyone else says. No, I listen to both sides just like you do, and we do our research. And when you overlay the Constitution on some of this stuff, it makes you puke.
Yeah, in a big way.
It's absolutely nuts. This bone that we've been thrown on this J6 footage that's come out. I don't know why McCarthy did it. It makes me completely suspect that he didn't release it to a neutral party, post it to the internet, let everybody watch the 40,000 hours or how many hours. I don't have time for that. It doesn't interest me that much. I think it's a miscarriage of justice. These people are denied their Sixth Amendment rights to a speedy trial. They're sitting in jail. Some of them are dying, committing suicide, all under Nancy Pelosi's iron fist. when she had the helm. Mitch McConnell, look, I mean, this guy stood up and had a press conference, national press conference, where he held up a sheet of paper and he said, "This is from the chief of police of the Capitol Police. This is what really happened. You know, it's an outrage that this guy opened up with these videotapes." Now, we all know that Mitch McConnell's a senile rhino, like Joe Biden. Come on.
Like Joe Biden.
Biden's not a rhino, but he's just a disturbed old man.
Right. Yeah.
You know, pathological liar. He's unable to finish a sentence without lying about it.
Oh, McConnell took a tumble recently, didn't he?
Yeah, well,
he fell in Kentucky or something, and
right.
fell over his walker or something like that.
I mean, I wish him well. I don't wish ill on anybody, but
No.
hey, it's time to go, and that leads me right into what we need to do here, folks, in this country. My small opinion is this: get rid of these career politicians. 20 years in the job, no. You got to go. We got up and coming people. You want more up to date logic. You got to get the people that are living it right now, that have the energy to produce and fight for the rights of the people. Not these stodgy old guys that, you know, crapping their pants and, you know, eating at the congressional cafeteria. You know, we don't need that. We got one here in the state. You ran against the guy. I'm not a real big fan of the guy, but I'm not an enemy either. But, you know, we were trying to get a debate going between you and Bill. And I ran into what you ran into when you tried to get back on council. And that's the stonewalling from the Republican club here in Sun City.
Right.
I mean, I'm fired up.
It runs deep, no matter if you're in DC or you're anywhere local, wherever. If somebody's listening to us in Paducah, Kentucky, it happens there.
Yes.
These 20 and 30, you're right, 20 and 30 years, some more than that. There's no place for that.
Yeah.
Now it's going to take a long time and a lot of people to change that. You know, these term limits need to go in, and I wasn't planning on going there, but
okay.
I'm going to. The realistic deal is the overwhelming numbers that it would take to change that is not there. There's not enough people that have what I consider the balls to vote themselves out of a job in X number of years. And that's unfortunate. I mean, it should be that way. It should be that, you know, there's term limits. You know, it's going to take a while, and I guess you start on that at the state level and work yourself up or down, however you want to look at it. But
or laterally, or just expand, laterally, and keep that grassroots support underneath your feet. I mean, you don't think that handshake deals happen. I mean, you mentioned this guy up in, what is it, Livingston County, or the guy with the paving operation. What's that guy's name?
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this guy has, his finger on the pulse. He also has a giant concrete company or something that puts streets in and stuff like this.
Yeah, that was in Florence County. That's right.
There you go. And the piggyback on the term limits, Mike, and I'll let you. I'm just too fired up right now on this.
Yeah, that's all right. That's what it's all about.
Is we need to get rid of these lobbyists and put a cap on them, and just put a double line, and start a new frame, because these people are controlling these politicians. They come in as paupers, they leave as millionaires. Who can do that? My dad didn't do that. You know what he did? He worked 25 years as a machinist, retired 5 years later, dropped dead. And that's it. His pension wasn't enough to fill a thimble. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't want to hear this, get the lobbyists out of there.
And, they had changed what they thought was going to be for the better. They changed, at least in South Carolina, they changed some of the rules with lobbyists and them having to be recorded. They've got to file their own ethics, filings like a politician does.
Sure, right.
But that didn't. They thought that was going to fix what you were just talking about, but it didn't. It's easy, from what I'm being told, to manipulate those filings, the ethics filings, for lobbyists if they want to bad enough. And all you got to do is make a trip to the state house here in Columbia. You've got on one side of the building, you've got the House, and on the other side, you've got the Senate. Down the hall from each other, as it were, and in the middle are the lobbyists, and they're working both sides of the rotunda.
Yeah, they have their own office there.
Yeah, they have their own place.
It's wacky. I what these guys do is they insulate themselves with a nonprofit organization. They feed the money through that. I mean, I work for the IRS. It doesn't take a complete genius to figure out how this money is, washed off before it gets into the, jet fuel of their private jets, folks. I mean, come on. Lindsey Graham, he's the biggest pimp on the planet. This guy will prostitute himself for, a couple nights in Tahiti, and he'll give you up in a minute. I don't know how this guy's survived this long.
I'm surprised and I mean this sincerely, I'm surprised he has not had a run-in, let's just call it a run-in, in public with what he's done, over the last 10 years. I'll just use the last 10 years. I know when I was in D.C. running for Congress and had to go up there like every other weekend, there were some places that I would go that he and others, not just him, but he and others would be in private rooms. And then the next day or the next week, you would see those same individuals that he was hosing. And I mean, he's a sellout.
Oh, yeah.
That's probably the easiest way. He's a sellout.
Sure. And just to be clear, I mean, when I say I don't know how long he's survived this long, it's politically. I don't need the FBI knocking on the door. I don't.
So there's been a story. There's been a story, Al, circulating across the country, and we've talked about it in different circles we are in, and it's in the news every day, just about. But that's the story of people in America that are, quite frankly, pissed off and demanding public schools eliminate this unfettered or fettered access to books containing obscenities and pornography, etc., in public schools. The key there is public schools, publicly funded schools. We've all heard what's going on with it right here in Beaufort County.
Right.
But let me ask you, Al, you know where this is right now. What is your take on where we are as a county or a community with what's going on in these books?
Well, I think, right now we're standing at the abyss. I mean, if a grassroots organization does not take this by the handle and just hang on for the ride, because it's going to be a rough one. We have people that are, this is my personal opinion, this is just a micro step to grooming kids and inoculating parents so that they don't understand, so they maybe accept pedophilia. This is where it's going. This is the ungodliness that's going on in this country. I'm not talking about banning books, neither are you. We don't, that's not our bag, man.
No,
just
not at all.
Put those things in a high school. These high school kids today, they already know all that jazz. But to have young children be groomed with drag queen story hour, teachers being identified. Veritas just came out with another clip. I don't have it yet, but I will. Where a teacher actually said, I am starting the process to 2 to 5 year old kids. They have the daycare and then they have the mini kindergarten. She's already showed the playbook. Now, I think it's it's just part of Satan's way of making this country completely uh,
Yeah.
dark. That's the best way
Yeah.
I can say it, with sin. So
Well,
that's my.
I've, and I appreciate that. I've had several people say to me, well, several different things, several people saying several different things. Um, one that I will never forget said, of all the things, all the hills to die on, why do you choose to, die on the sword on that hill? And I'm like, really? I mean, well, I can't really think of anything better, right off the top of my head, than the sanctity of a child.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the
So,
pure innocence of a child you're going to destroy.
yeah. Well, like I said the other night, I think I said this. Al and I were at along with, I don't know, 40 or 50 other people, an America First event, and I gave a short little speech there, and I think it was there where I said, Let the children be a child for as long as they can. It's a tough road out here. It's a tough world, a lot tougher than it was when I was, a little kid.
Yeah, me too.
They need to be a kid, and this is not what kids do. Um, but I wanted to bring up to you. I had an interview with the Post and Courier last week.
Wow.
The article came out, I guess it was yesterday, and I don't know. The Post and Courier is about as bad as the Island Packet. They're probably owned by the same people for all I know. I don't read either one of them. She didn't do too bad of a job, but there was a lot of good things that she left out. Her point of view in this article, the very long article, was really about the kids that had been speaking at public comment at the school board meetings, which she had asked me, well, what's your feeling about the kids? And what she didn't put down that I really was emphatic about was that every week at these school board meetings, you've got a group of moms mostly, and a group of kids. Now, all the kids' moms aren't there, but all the moms' kids are there.
Hmm.
So my comment to her was, in my opinion, I felt like these kids were being used as tools or pawns to get their happens to be their mother's opinion across. They all happen to be, as they said, in the LGBTQ community, which, as we said with JT Beck, I could care less.
Right.
I don't care if you think you're a fuzzy little squirrel.
Right.
That's fine. That's your gig. But when you start putting all the pieces together, I see them being used as pawns. But one thing that I said, and I wanted to ask your opinion on this, ever since myself and Ivy Zalai are the only two complainants on record with Beaufort County. We're the ones that can appeal these reviews that happen every other week or every 3 weeks. So I was thinking about this, when I was in business, I always told my employees, don't bring me a problem unless you have a solution. I may not like your solution. I may tell you your solution is trash, but at least you brought a solution, and I'll give you 10 points for that. An attaboy. So I started thinking about it. I had not come up with a solution to this other than the obvious that I felt these 97 books should be removed in some fashion. But that's really too vague. Really, when you look at that's a big ask. So I started thinking about it. Here's what I put down. What I said was, there currently is an opt-out form. Now, it's horrific, it's trash. Nobody pays attention to it because we've got 4 or 5 children that have brought these books home who were supposedly in the opt-out mode. So what does that tell you? That tells you the school, the teacher, the librarian, nobody's paying attention to it. Okay. So the opt-out form, and even Dr. Rachel Wisniewski and Elizabeth Hay have all on the school board have all said this needs to be fixed. My suggestion, and I'm going to bring this up. I mean, I put it out there, but I'm going to bring it up to the school board when it's story hour from Mike again, that maybe they create the opt-in method. Okay, so think about that for a minute. Remember back in the 80s and early 90s when you go to the store, the video store, and to rent, a VHS for Friday night,
Sure.
there's always that room or that door, and we
Yeah,
all know what's behind that door.
right,
But you had to show ID that you were old enough to go in that door.
right.
Well, it's kind of similar to this. The books are in that room. If you have ID and a letter from mom and dad to opt in, then you can go to that room. Keep them secure, keep them out of the public's view. And if mom X or dad Y rather, approve of their kid going in there, then that way their kid can still read it, but all kids aren't subject to it. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I think it's absolutely spot on. I think that they should put those books in the adult section for the adults. And I'm talking to, like, I don't know what the cutoff might be. I would say ninth plus, uh, that you have to
Now, are
be
you talking about the county library or the school library?
all of them, all of them,
All of them. Okay.
all of them. Sure. I mean, I'm not talking, your idea is sound, but I can't see any of these liberal librarians conforming to anything close to that because they would think that it would hurt someone's feelings. We're
Right.
saving some young kid right now. So I would definitely endorse what you're talking about. If you ask my opinion, I think you're spot on. But I just want to point out something else that goes on with these children. Uh, this Secret Santa stuff, I'm your secret friend. Don't worry, you can tell me things you don't tell your parents.
Mhm.
Do you really like boys? I mean, because you really think I see you always hanging around and putting your hands on Johnny. This kind of stuff is grooming, man. And
Big time.
I spent some time in law enforcement just as a road deputy, and I'm telling you, when you see someone that has endured a physical assault, and they're 15 years old, a female, and has been beaten to a pulp and raped, your whole demeanor changes about being flexible when it comes to protecting children. And
Right.
this liberal outlook that or progressive Marxist, it's a perverted outlook, really, in my book, that you can just feed kids these little morsels as a trusted advisor and then take them all the way into the oh Johnny, why don't you go to the ladies' room, the girls' room?
Yeah.
It's okay. This is where we're going, Mike, and God
Did
bless you for you and Ivy for stepping forward.
Well, did you speaking of this particular situation, did you see the show I did where we had another Hilton Head Island middle school teacher that we exposed for doing that here
Yeah, I
recently?
did. I watched it
Okay.
too.
The apparently now I haven't confirmed it, so I probably shouldn't even go there. But from what I'm understanding from people on the island, is that teacher has been given administrative duty. Hasn't been removed, but is on administrative whatever that is. But that right there, Al, that is huge. And for when I hear people say, "Well, this isn't being taught in school. Why do you people keep on this?" Yes, it is. We have caught two.
Right.
I don't know how many schools we have in this county. I don't know. Was it 30? I don't know. But if you've already got two, I mean that's crazy. That's crazy. Um, and if for those people that are listening, if you don't know what we're talking about, this teacher sent to her kids. Fortunately, one of the kids was smart enough, had been raised well enough, or whatever. They copied it and took it to the parents. This teacher gave the kids a survey, and I believe Al, it was something like, do you want me to use particular pronouns when I talk to you? Do you want me to keep this a secret between me and you? or contact mom and dad, or stuff like that.
Right.
I don't remember what was all. It was ridiculous. I was like, oh my god, if one of my grandkids brought something like that home, I would legitimately lose it. I mean,
Right.
all of my kids are grown, so it's grandkids now. But if I had a neighbor that had a kid and they brought that home, I would become apoplectic, as they say.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'd be at the door the next day early.
Just
It's what do you? All we can do is keep pushing against the Borg. You got to keep pushing against the machine, because if we don't, no one will. It'll roll all over us. I mean, just
and then you've got people on the school board, like, and I don't mind calling him out, Dick Geyer, who represents, I guess that's the Port Royal, Burton area. He, before we ever made the first appeal, he had said, I'm not addressing this issue. Whatever the review committee says is what I'm going with. And he's got to give him A for effort. Every time it comes before them, immediately he responds with a motion to accept it as it was given. He came out and he said, public school board member, parents, if you don't like the decisions I make, send your kid to private school. I don't know what to say. That a public school system school board trustee says send your kid to private school. I don't know what to say to that.
Yeah, well, okay, I would say absolutely. I think that's a great idea. Now let's get this charter school thing rocking and rolling. How about passing out some vouchers instead of sending money over to Ukraine, to the corruptest government on the planet Earth? I pray for the people of Ukraine. I do not pray for the government of Ukraine. One big washing machine for Joe Biden. That's all it is with this money.
Sure it is.
It's crazy. I mean, talking about these school board council members. I mean, you're worried about the books in the school. The books that you spoke of are in our public libraries, by the way.
Yes, they are.
Yeah. And well, getting those out are going to be a stroke of magic. We can only pray to God. He can bring the miracle, not us.
I agree with you 100% on that. I think one of the cards that we would have in our pocket, if you will, is that those libraries are publicly funded. So,
right.
Where you have people like the ACLU saying this is a infringement on their rights. Well, what about my rights or your rights? If it's everybody's rights, not just the left. So, but that hasn't been, as far as I know, that has not been taken on anywhere that I'm aware of. But you're right, that's a huge, huge hill. But I would love, if it ever comes to that here, I would love to have someone like Anna Tabernick on to, she's not anymore, but she was the what was she, the chair woman of the county library board. I would love to have, what say you, Ms. Tabernick, as the director, the chair, the whatever you were, do you think these things should be in the public library?
Well, I
ever get anyone to actually answer that.
That's you'll be yelling that into the wind for the next 10 years. But
so
I applied for a position that was open on that board, and I withdrew my. They contacted me, wanted to personally interview me, which is their prerogative. But after further review, personally, it just wasn't going to work for me as far as time wise with things I have going with my own business and starting another one. So it's, I would like to get in there and throw the fist and throw the fight, bring it to them. But, that would be one of these isolate and freeze out, put you in the chill box because that's how they operate. I mean,
Mhm.
you know, I'll tell you the truth, folks. That's how. And Mike, God bless you for having all your sponsors. That's beautiful. But all my sponsors said to me after Jeff and I got going, we had uh, Michael Flynn on, we had Lynn Wood on, we interviewed both of these gentlemen, others that were like-minded. That's how I got kicked off YouTube permanently. You know, they sent me the Dear John
Really?
letter. Yeah, they just, I mean,
I didn't know that.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I don't use. I like the platform. It's easy to use, easy to manipulate. You know, you can post things easy. But yeah, um, that's the sponsors just said, listen, we got people coming in here saying, we heard your commercial on Talk One Radio. Are you really thinking of, do you understand what these people, they preach hatred, they're election deniers. I mean, I heard it all. And I sympathize with the people because this was during, just after the drawdown off of COVID, and they're just trying to make ends meet, man. I get it. And so that put me in the old bunker here in the Talk One Radio bunker. And
it not to change the subject, but that is tough. It's tough. There are some that that I've talked to that they just don't have. I guess I really don't know the reason. They just don't want to offend. I don't know. I don't subscribe to that train of thought, but to each his own. And those that we do have, I mean, are fantastic. Fortunately, like on Big Patriot Radio, that's kind of different because there's so much music, and you could hear Enterprise, car rental to
right.
public, whatever.
Yeah.
So some of those are supplemented nationally. Here on this format, though, you're right. This is tough, and right now we only have one United Digital promotions. It's tough. It's tough.
Yeah, and we're common men. We're not talking heads on the TV. I mean, that's how I'm not the smartest guy in the room. I don't want to be, really. I learn more by listening than I do by talking. But I think this is what we need in America today: is the common person, male, female, doesn't matter what race, what pigment of your skin is. We need to get this country, get its mind right. Stop listening to the box talking heads, the corporations, the corrupt politicians. It's not about them. It's about us. And when we start getting a grip on that and start realizing that the people actually do run the show, contrary to what these politicians, snapping their suspenders and doing the C-SPAN route and doing commercials and selling books. Look, the biggest thing that told me that General Milley was a traitor to this country was when Afghanistan was taking a dump and we left millions and millions of dollars of equipment, killed 13 Americans over there and countless Afghanistan advisors. And he wrote out promoting a book. He's promoting a book.
Yeah.
He's auditioning for one of these TV slots. I mean, when we have our military men doing crap like that, I just listened to an extended interview from General Michael Flynn, and if you haven't listened to him in a while, he's put it all in perspective. Really, he's a great American, great served this country. Served in combat, unlike several of these other bums.
Yep.
What is the Secretary of State? What is it? Not Blinken, but the guy.
Blinken.
Blinken is the Secretary of State. What's the Secretary of Defense? What's that? I forget his name.
Milley?
No, he's that general, but I don't know.
I don't have any use for all of them.
Right, they're all bumps. I mean, come on. And now they're sending troops over, putting them in Germany right now. I don't know if people know this, But I know guys that fly, contract 747s. They're loaded with troops going to Germany for what reason? Stay out of Ukraine. Stay out of this stupid war, you idiots.
Stay out of it. Stop the money. Stop the missiles. Stop.
It's absolutely nuts.
But you got old Joe in the Ho saying, "Well, let me just cut you another $20 billion check."
Yeah, right. And this guy Valinsky has got the balls to get in front of an interview mic and say, "You're not giving enough, and you're going to have to start sending your men and women over here to fight and die for us." I'm like,
and we need our pensions back too, by the way.
Right. Oh, it's unbelievable. It's Nord Stream 2. Don't get me started. They're blaming Russia, Putin, for blowing up his own pipeline when he controls the spigot, man. All he had to do is walk down there and say, "Turn that spigot off," and that's the end of the show. Why blow it up? We know who blew it up. This is contrived planning. Sick. Yep. People are sick. You better get a grip on it, folks. We're in a
absolutely
tailspin, deep spiral. We don't want that. You want to talk about some local stuff?
Let me let's do a quick little pay some of the bills. Actually, talking about advertisers, we do have another one. It's a brand new one, and we'll get to that here in just 1 second.
Locked and loaded. Let's go. Big Patriot Radio. Blues, news, country pop, and classic rock.
And let me see if I can make this thing work right. I want to tell you all, I'm going to share my screen here. And there we go. New here. Folks, I want to tell you a little bit about something that I really hope that you all take advantage of. And this is called MammothNation.com. That's mammoth, like the elephant. MammothNation.com. You see it on your screen in front of you. Mammoth Nation is a membership-based online shopping platform that features American-owned and operated businesses while also openly supporting America First candidates and causes. With Mammoth Nation, it's deeply devoted to defending traditional values, patriotism, and our constitutional freedoms. Mammoth Nation openly supports and promotes conservative candidates who are honest, ethical, and staunchly dedicated to protecting our constitutional rights. As always, proudly committed to providing our members with a marketplace buying American, featuring companies that share your values with an emphasis on both American and veteran-owned and operated businesses. It's pretty easy. Discount members receive very quickly, covering the cost of membership. Many of the affiliates, and I'm going to just scroll down through here. There's what it costs to join. Three different plans, if you will. The discounts. Let me see if I can go up here and bring up some of the marketplaces. This is some of the places that you can shop. Proceeds from membership dues purchases from their partners and Mammoth Nation merchandise will be allocated to support charities and conservative causes. What do they support? Well, conservative candidates, law enforcement, and first responders. Always supporting the brave men and women of all law enforcement agencies, active military and veterans. They support Americans who actively served or are serving in all branches of the military, like I said, and veterans who came before them. Farmers and ranchers of America. Mammoth Nation helps support them. Hardworking farmers and ranchers all across this United States. Mammoth Nation fights to protect the freedom of religion, speech, press, and the right to assemble peacefully for every American. Our First Amendment and our Second Amendment, supporting our constitutional right to bear arms and protect ourselves, our property, and our loved ones. One of the interesting things Let me see if I can find it here. There's some more of the people, places, and things you can buy from. Just take a gander. It's mammoethnation.com. Go down through there. But if you look at what's pretty interesting is, as you see right here, their logo, you see on the middle of your screen there, that means something. And I wasn't aware of this till they jumped on board here. There are 13 stripes in the trunk of the mammoth. That stands for the original 13 colonies and the 13 stripes in the flag. Heritage, liberty, our foundation. There are 2 big tusks coming out of this beast. That stands for the Second Amendment, power and defense of freedom and personal property. There are 10 stars here at the bottom half of this circle. That stands for the 10 Commandments, the rules of God, faith, and morality. So there you go. It's mammoethnation.com. You can head there. And matter of fact, when you go there, click that screen. You can go to mammoethnation.com / hashtag Big Patriot Radio. You can also enter a promo code if you decide to buy something, some steak sauce, whatever, flag, paraphernalia. Use the promo code Patriot1 and receive up to 30% discount at mammoethnation.com.
Introducing to you.
You're on House of Cards, live on Facebook and YouTube.
It's going down now.
Locked and loaded with the truth.
So, Al, did you hear what happened last night at the Beaufort County Council meeting?
No, we were just brushed up in that pre-show there.
So, not a lot gets me really pissed off, but this really does. And so let me set the story. So, folks, back in 2022, there was a developer who was looking to buy a piece of property. It's several hundreds acres over on St. Helena. It's called Pine Island. It's got like 4,000 feet of deep water frontage. Right. I mean, it's a beautiful piece of property.
Right.
So, when it came about, these people wanted to rezone it to buy it. This developer, the Gullah Geechee, the farmers of St. Helena, the whole community out there, they went ballistic. That what their intent was, and the reason why they went ballistic, was they wanted to build what I consider a miniature Palmetto Bluff. Obviously, Palmetto Bluff is like 20,000 acres. It's not near that. But they wanted upscale gated community. They wanted resort style lodging. They wanted, it was either, I know it was one 18-hole course, and it may have been either 2 or an 18 and an executive course, one or the other. I don't remember the mix.
No affordable housing, Mike. No affordable housing.
That would be a negative. There was no affordable housing, not unless $1 million is that's for the slum house.
Right.
So anyway, the public went ballistic, and county council backed off of it. Councilwoman Alice Howard said, whoa, I tell you what, we're going to take a timeout. There's something called a CPO, which is like an overlay district that comes into play. She said, hey, we're going to take a timeout. We're going to send this back to staff, back to administration, and we won't address this at all until mid-April. And it will come back up for conversation possibly, but it was a done deal. No change in zoning, whatever. So last night at the Beaufort County Council meeting, something happened in public comment, and I actually have a tape I'm going to show you. The first thing that happened was, Chairman Passament has been ruthless that the first public comment can only be about agenda items. Well, that doesn't hold water with Chairman Passament when it affects him and benefits him, because, well, you'll see here in a minute that he lets it slide. So I'll tell you what, let's do. let's just take a quick view of Chairman Passament and letting a gentleman named LVO Tapanero come and talk before county council. Let's pull that up and let's run that tape.
Okay, we're at the citizen comments, and I've taken a look. We only have 2 individuals who would make comments, and they are not on the agenda items. We do have several agenda items that people can speak about because we are public hearings. And just before that, Fred is walking out the door. Fred, stay for 1 second. Fred is walking out the door, but I want to give special acknowledgement to he and he is the first individual.
Thank you, Chairman. Good evening, Council. Hope everyone is well. My name is Elvio Tropiano. I live at 1 St. Helenville Road. Thank you for having me here tonight. Extremely excited to finally be able to speak publicly, as now I'm the owner of Pine Island. I'm here as a local citizen, a landowner, and not a mystery developer. Pine Island has been a private property for well over 150 years. It's been used as a gated private recreation destination under multiple different owners. It will continue to be utilized in that capacity under my stewardship, but in a manner that allows me to protect, preserve, and activate the land in an unprecedented manner. Pine Island is approximately 500 acres of high and dry land with 7.5 miles of deep water shoreline. It's 38,000 linear feet. Under current zoning, I can build 165 new single-family homes and well over 80 docks, if not more. That's not what we're here to do, though. While I bought this property in reliance of what current zoning law allows, our team has always had a vision for bigger and better. Over the past 2 years, our team of world-class planners, engineers, environmentalists, archaeologists, local historians, scientists, and lawyers have been operating with a simple mandate for the future of my property. 1, a deep and unwavering respect for the environment. 2, a light footprint on the land and surrounding ecosystems. And 3, and most importantly to me, a business model that allows for significant economic impact and long-term philanthropic commitments. We've been saying that for 2 years, and I think a lot of people have heard it. I come from a family of first-generation immigrants. Fiercely hardworking people that sacrificed everything to put me in a position, to have success. The future of Pine Island now allows me to fulfill that lifelong responsibility of doing that for others, carrying on a legacy of creating opportunity the same way they did for me. Staff has done an incredible job working extremely hard with council to find pragmatic solutions to sensitive problems. They've been unfairly demonized by the media and local interest groups, all while simply trying to do what is best for the county and all of its citizens. This council and the staff should be extremely proud and commended for your efforts day in and day out for trying to make Beaufort County a fine place to live, work, and play, a place I now call my home. Moving forward, our team will be taking the necessary steps to ensure that this vision can become a reality. This will include balancing and securing my private property rights with standard and customary procedures. And I'll make myself available to each and every one of you to walk through our goals. I'm extremely proud of my team. They've acted with dignity and respect at every possible opportunity. We're going to continue to operate in that manner in pursuit of delivering unprecedented levels of commitment to Beaufort County. I appreciate the time. Thank you, and have a good night.
Yeah, why didn't he gavel him down?
You go. There you go.
Where's Joe with the gavel, man? Where's the... You're 3 minutes.
You heard it straight from the man's mouth that this is what I can do. Oh, and I apologize. I misspoke. It's actually 7.5 miles of deep water access, 38,000. But he said it right there, Al. He said, hey, this is what I can do, but we want to do more. We want to do bigger.
Yeah.
And you know the funny thing about this is the part that really kind of burns my ass. He said it at the beginning. Mystery developer. Okay. I did a little checking up on Mr. LVO Trapanero from Boston. He lives in New York City. And he's not a developer. He's a hedge fund manager. He works on Wall Street. He hangs with the heir to the Bloomberg fortune. He hangs with the Rockefellers. This is bad, bad, bad on all kind of angles. So what are you saying about this, Mike? Well, what I'm saying is I'm going to keep digging on this, but I know there is an angle between county administration and Joe Passament that this guy bought the land. He didn't pay 18. That's what he says, $18 million, by the way. He didn't pay $18 million. Now, his influences may have, but the point of this is, Al, if you're Gullah, you're Geechee, you're a St. Helena farmer, this guy, this LVO Trapanero, just did that.
Ooh.
That's what he just did to you.
Right. Well, what struck me right away, and then when you told me about his background, a couple things. Number one, he went over time generously by about 25 seconds, even after the bell went off, and Joe didn't gavel him out of there at high speed like he does to a gentleman like Skip Hoagland or everybody else. I'm sorry, your time is up. Get away from the mic. I mean, I'm searching for the outburst that the chairman put on a couple weeks ago. I will play it because I will find it where, he obviously let Skip Hoagland know where his goat was tied up, and Skip was more than happy to oblige him and getting him triggered off and screaming and adjourning the meeting. But that's a whole another story. What I want to tie in is that Joe is bedazzled by people with money that come in and strut around and tell them how we're going to service this county. You won't believe it when we're done. Yeah, we will believe it when we're done. When you're done, these people think that we're rubes. They have very little regard for anybody down here. Let me tell you that right now. These big money guys come storming in here with the big promises. They're going to build this big circus show over there for the millionaires, so their buddies can fly in and, enjoy the weekend in the Hilton Head area. Don't let them do it. Don't let them do it. Those farmers, doesn't Taylor Farms have a big operation out there? I thought in that area.
They might. There's a lot of
tomato guy. David.
There are a lot of tomato, watermelon, grass farms, cattle.
Right. Yeah.
There's even still cotton farms.
Right.
All going to be ruined.
Ruined.
They will be ruined.
Big white boxes called the new home. All, with Italian imported marble and wood. And hey, man, this is not Beverly.
So, the one thing that'll happen now, let me lay this play out there. You and I are both conservatives, and we believe in that people can do with their land what they can do with their land.
You're right.
Now, with this guy, this is shady to begin with. Okay. Now, if it is, and I've been on the county tax site, it hadn't come through there yet, but I'm on it. So let's just say he did buy it. Yes, that's his property. And I'm a red-blooded conservative that people's land rights are sanctimonious or sacrosanct to themselves. However, not at the detriment of someone else. I can do what I want on my land, but I can't harm you because, I was an asshole. I can't harm you.
Right.
Well, every county council member hadn't got it yet. They will by tomorrow. Every person on the Beaufort delegation hasn't got it yet, but they will by tomorrow. They're going to get an earful from me that this cannot continue. And if the county needs to do whatever they need to do, because you can't bring back the Gullah Geechee heritage You can't bring what they're losing it's horrible. I mean, I can't. I'm almost at a loss of words that is going to happen. Is there anything they can do about it? Well, I mean, they can not issue building permits.
Right.
They can make this guy's life hell. I'm not advocating for that, but I'm saying this needs to stop. This needs to stop in a large way. And this right here, my friend, this is not only is it a big stick it up your rear to the Gullah Geechee from Joe Passament and Eric Greenway, the county administrator, but everybody else in this county that's ever tried to have something rezoned that hit roadblock after roadblock after roadblock. That was a big FU they did to them as well, all in the name of a hedge fund manager who hangs out with the Bloombergs and the Rockefellers on Wall Street. That's bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah. Once all those homes are sold or whatever he's going to put up there, once all that's done and all the yachts are parked out front, you got it. He takes all his winnings and goes